Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today I am going to explain a new topic for the PG course in Environmental Sciences, that is radiative forcing. In this module, we are going to talk about what is radiative forcing, understand the positive and negative radiative forcing, understand the mechanism of radiative forcing due to greenhouse gases, aerosols and clouds, known the contribution of land, ocean and cryosphere to the radiative forcing, and lastly understand the solar effects on the radiative forcing. Now start with the radiative forcing. The Earth's weather systems are basically driven by the energy that is received from the sun. Our climate is strongly influenced by the manner in which solar radiation is absorbed and scattered in the Earth atmosphere. The Earth receives energy from the sun mostly in the ultraviolet and visible region of electromagnetic spectrum. The ultraviolet region falls in the range between 190 to 300 nanometer and the visible region fall between 380 to 750 nanometer. The Earth radiates like a black body emits energy in the infrared part of the electromagnetic spectrum back to outer space. Infrared radiation extends from the nominal red edge of visible spectrum at 700 nanometer to 1 millimeter. The difference in the net incoming solar radiation and the outgoing terrestrial radiation is the radiative forcing. Aerosols have a direct impact on the atmosphere as they scatter and absorb solar and infrared radiation and directly affect the size distribution of cloud droplets. Hence, the knowledge of aerosols characteristic is basic requirement for understanding their impact on our environment. The process through which aerosols alter the radiative balance of Earth's atmosphere system is known as radiative forcing. The change in the radiation flux incoming and outgoing due to the presence of aerosols, both natural and anthropogenic, is referred to as aerosol radiative forcing. Over a long period of time, the incoming solar radiation and the outgoing infrared radiation from the Earth has to balance each other, and this is called the energy balance, or we can write radiation balance instead of energy. When this energy balance is disturbed due to various natural and anthropogenic activities, the overall effect may be warming of the Earth or cooling of the Earth happen. That is what the climate scientists termed as climate change. Distribution of incoming solar radiation in this figure, we can see that A is the sum total of B and C, where A is incoming solar radiation and B is albedo effect by various atmospheric particles, and C is absorption by Earth surfaces, that is land and ocean, and absorption by cloud aerosols and atmospheric gases. Emission from Earth surfaces, clouds and osmotic gases. In this figure, we can see that F is the sum total of D and E, and addition of D and E is equals to C. C is already discussed in previous slide. Now focus on D and E. D is further divided into D1 and D2, where D1 is emission from the land and ocean surfaces. These emitted radiation further absorbed by clouds, aerosols and gases, that is D2. So, D is subtraction of D1 minus D2. Similarly, E is also divided into E1 and E2. Here E1 is emission by cloud and E2 is emission by gases. Concentrate on positive and negative radiative forcing. The contribution to the radiative forcing can come from a variety of agents, that is greenhouse gases, aerosols, land surfaces, ocean, cryosphere, clouds and even variations from the sun. The most common variable that is used to measure the effect of radiative forcing is the surface temperature. If it is warming, that it is called positive radiative forcing, and if it is cooling, then it is called negative radiative forcing. Sometimes the radiative forcing is also determined by measuring the difference in flux at the top of the atmosphere. Radiative forcing by greenhouse gases. Processes which traps the outgoing terrestrial radiation, gases which are weak absorbers in the visible region but have strong absorption in in the infrared region are termed as greenhouse gases such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbon and hydrofluorocarbons. Trapping of terrestrial radiation by the greenhouse gases has mostly a warming effect on the earth. In the absence of greenhouse gases, the infrared radiation emitted by the earth would have completely escaped to the escape. Increase in CO2 contributes to positive radiative forcing as the residence time of NOx in the atmosphere is very short. Their contribution to the radiative forcing cannot be quantified with certainty. Methane contributes to the positive radiative forcing. The direct radiative forcing by halocarbons is positive and indirectly it destroys the ozone in the stratosphere. If the ozone increases in the stratosphere, it will contribute to a warming effect, and in the troposphere its behavior is opposite. Radiative forcing by water vapor is highly variable in space and time. Its radiative forcing is never computed. Radiative forcing is other gases also control the amount of water vapor. Water vapor is also controlled through cloud formation processes. In stratosphere, water vapor is present in small quantity and the radiative forcing here is positive. Radiative forcing by aerosol, the change in radiation flux that is incoming and outgoing due to the presence of aerosols, both natural and anthropogenic, is referred to as aerosol radiative forcing. It has both direct and indirect effect on radiative forcing. Direct effect is the interaction of radiation with aerosols falls into the scattering and the absorption. The scattering of visible radiation by aerosols produce climate forcing by changing the planetary albedo or reflectance or of the planet. Absorption and re-radiation of infrared radiation by aerosols enhances the atmospheric greenhouse warming. These two effects are called direct forcing of aerosols on radiation and climate. Aerosols also have an indirect effect on climate by altering the properties of clouds, resulting in a change of their scattering properties and longevity. Indeed, if there were no aerosols in the atmosphere, clouds would be much less common. It is very difficult to form cloud droplets without small aerosol particles acting as seeds to start the formation of cloud droplets. Sources of aerosols includes both natural and anthropogenic. Natural sources includes volcanic eruptions, sea spray, biomass burning, dust storm. Anthropogenic sources includes vehicular emissions, industrial smoke exhaust, land use changes, mining dust, etc. Now comes to albedo effect. The solar radiation reaching the earth's surface can be reflected back from without absorption. Light surfaces reflect more heat than dark surfaces. Cloud feedback. Clouds have two types of effect on the radiative balance. If there is albedo effect is cooling. If there is greenhouse effect, then it is warming. The effect depends on the cloud type. Cloud effects of low and middle clouds. As they are low in height, water content in them are high. They reflect solar radiation and its albedo effects is also high, and greenhouse effect is low. They contribute to the cooling effect. Cloud effect of high clouds. They are thin and allow solar radiation to pass. They have very little albedo effect. They trap outgoing radiation due to this. They have high greenhouse effect. Overall impact is warming. Cloud effects of vertically developing clouds. They are mostly cumulus and cumulonimbus types. They equally contribute to both albedo effect and greenhouse effect. Therefore, difficult to quantify whether the overall effect from these clouds will be positive or negative. Now comes to the solar effects. First one is sunspot cycle. The solar emission, although not very significant, can change during the 11-year cycle. Their effect on radiative forcing is not very clear. Orbital variations, changes in eccentricity, changes in obliquity, tilt or earth axis and precision of the earth's orbit around the sun, their effect on the earth's climate is thousands of years. Cosmic rays, as their energies are very high, they generate ions in atmosphere which can form CCN. CCN can modulate the clouds which can influence the radiative forcing. Now, to summarize this module, we can say that radiative forcing is the difference between the net incoming solar radiation and outgoing terrestrial radiation from the earth. Radiative forcing contributions can from a variety of agents like greenhouse gases, aerosols, land surfaces, ocean, cryosphere, clouds and even variations from sun. Radiative forcing effect of greenhouse gases mainly happens through the process of trapping the outgoing terrestrial radiation. Aerosol particles in the atmosphere can modulate the Earth's climate through radiative forcing. Albedo is amount of radiations that is reflected back without absorption. Changes in albedo can change the radiative forcing. Clouds can contribute through either positive or negative feedback to the radiative balance. Solar effects can come through the 11-year sun spot cycle. They are vital variations of the earth or cosmic rays. Dear students, hope this session would have given you an insight into the topic. Thank you and bye for now.